Hey guys, Pit Master here. Lessons from last night's fight night with main event Bader versus Johnson. Um, like I've talked about in the past and I've blogged about, there's lessons to be learned from every fight you watch, and you should use the UFC like a classroom or a dojo and learn lessons from it. So I'm just here to help you, and from a different perspective. I got three pretty good takeaways from that fight that I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, the first one is Jimmy Rivera versus Yuri. I can't remember his last name, but it was Jimmy. It was the fight of the night, and for good reason. It was a really good fight. It was close. It was competitive. But my takeaway or my lesson from this fight is think of an avalanche, how it gains momentum and speed and power. Um, think of, force is mass times acceleration. Think of inertia. And to me, that's what won the fight for Jimmy Rivera, was just his continuous, nonstop forward, aggressive movement. And it was effective aggression. And you could just, the fight was just like so close in the beginning. Then it just started going more in Jimmy's favor because he was moving forward. Now, Yuri was having a hard time because he was moving back a little too much. And both guys aren't always going to be moving forward, but like with Muhammad Ali, he would move laterally, hardly ever backwards, but then attack at different angles. Usually the person that's moving forward, even if it's lateral and attacking from different angles, is going to be winning the fight. But the person moving backwards, most of the time is going to be losing. Okay? You punch a lot harder when you're moving forward. You punch a lot harder when you're on top. Okay? The bottom guy can catch someone in a submission, true, but usually isn't winning. So the aggression to me and the effective aggression and moving forward won that fight and made for a good fight. And the lesson is you need to attack going forward. Laterally, angles is great, but it's really hard to attack effectively moving backwards. Okay, so take that from as number one. Number two, Sage Northcutt against Brian Barberena. Stick with your strengths. Learn the whole game of martial arts, which is you should learn the submissions, if nothing else, to defend against them. You should learn the wrestling, if nothing else, to defend against it. And you should learn the striking, if nothing else, to defend against it. But realize that you have a strength and stick with it, especially at the highest level of like the UFC. It's not time to like hit the guy cleanly and clearly have an advantage on your feet and then just going for a takedown to prove that you can. I mean, it made no sense because when they were grappling or clinching, it was very obvious that Brian and Sage were really close, and in terms of skill. But when they were on the outside, it was pretty clear that Sage was getting the better of it. But then he started like going in and clinching, and then going in for a takedown. So his striking he started not striking as definitively or as aggressively. So he was even getting caught with some counter punches because his whole game was his game plan was kind of mushed to me. So have a clear-cut game plan, number one, but let it be focused around your strengths. And I think if Sage went out there just knowing that he's going to knock the guy out and defend against the takedowns, then I think he would have done a lot better. Now, say he's striking and the guy was getting the best of him, then plan B, go for a takedown. But he didn't need a plan B. I think he just should have stuck with plan A, and I think he would have done a lot better. He ended up losing by arm triangle, but he'll be back. So stick with your strengths, learn the whole game, but stick with your strengths, basically. That's what I'm saying, okay? Number three, Ryan Bader Johnson. When you're going for a big shot, like a takedown or an overhand right or a head kick, set it up with something. Bader just went in halfway against the cage for a takedown without setting it up with anything. Not a feint, not some punches, not even a kick, nothing. So when you're gonna go for a big move like a head kick, set it up with something like strikes, feints, some kind of movement. But set your moves up. Don't just throw them from go and telegraph them, because when you telegraph your moves, they can be the hardest move in the world, but it's only going to hit air. And unfortunately, he telegraphed his shot, and Anthony Johnson, who's a great takedown defender anyway, was able to capitalize on the precarious or vulnerable position that Bader got into with a foiled shot, and he was able to win by ground and pound or ground and knockout in the first round. All right, thanks for coming. If you have any questions on my 3 lessons from UFC Fight Night, Bader versus Johnson, please comment below. Thanks for coming.